Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
I've known David for a very long time. Before his music career, I was the leader of his Fortnite clan. That's how we know each other. I have nothing to do with the David situation.
And there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
No, I knew it was cool if she hated it. I played it for her in the car. She was like, David, this song is too violent. You talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. I was like, wait, I might be onto something here.
New evidence in the David case has released, and the internet is talking. People are alleging that they was there when David met Celeste at 10 years old. What the fuck? One thing I think most of us can collectively agree on at this point, well, at least if you're a half-decent person, is that David is a disgusting, psychotic maniac. In this video, we're not going to recap things that we already know about this whole situation, but rather take a glimpse into the mind and the past of this monster of a person. Now, I understand how sensitive this whole situation can be, but taking feelings out of it, if that's even possible, I think that it's imperative that we try to understand the psychology behind the person that we know as David. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of us are still trying to make sense of this whole thing and process how someone can do something so heinous and just go on like nothing ever happened. But before we get into this video, if you feel anything like that, hit like, hit subscribe, join the tribe, because people like us have to stick together, okay? Leave a comment, let me know that you subbed so I can personally welcome you to the gang. All right, now let's get back to this video. Before David became the person that we know today, he was an avid gamer. You see, David was a highly skilled Fortnite player, and he regularly attributed his success to that game in particular, claiming that his true passion was really gaming, and basically his music career was basically a side quest. According to people, well, children at the time, who allegedly queued up with him, noticed very strange things about David. Now, mind you, David was also underage at the time. He was around 15, 16, but if you know anything about multiplayer games, then you know it's a melting pot, okay? When you load up on a multiplayer game, especially a game like Fortnite and Roblox, bro, there's a wide range of ages. This is allegedly where David met Celeste. Now, I don't know if it was through a random queue or she joined his Discord first, but they would play Fortnite together. Now, let me remind you, David was about 15 or 16 and Celeste was about 10 or 11 years old. And there's nothing wrong with playing games with, underage kids or young kids when you're playing a multiplayer game, but there are certain lines you don't cross, and David crossed those lines. So according to this person, him and his friend met David through a group called Chronic. If you're unfamiliar with competitive gaming culture, people usually join clans for camaraderie and to connect with like-minded players. So this is just normal activity, okay? He goes on to confirm that David did meet Celeste through Fortnite and that he made her get Discord. And this right here is just neglect from the parents, because there is no way David had the ability at this point in time to make Celeste do anything, okay? Her parents was not paying attention to her. I have small children of my own, bro, and they do play competitive games online sometimes, but there's no mic involved and I'm monitoring everything they do. Anyway, this guy says that everyone on the team knew about it and would joke about it every time and he brushed it off. So I guess that the thing that he's hinting that they knew about was Celeste being 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old, and messing around with David. I'm pretty sure at this time they probably wasn't having a physical relationship, but still that's still too much, bro. She's 10 or 11 years old. You're 15, 16, so yeah, but that's pretty alarming though, the fact that they would joke about it. I mean, David was underage, but bro, like that's a weird age gap. Like 20 and 25, I understand that. You're both adults. But 10 and 15, bro, like that's way like your mind is totally different in two different states at the time. He says that Celeste would literally say that David raped her and then follow it up with a joke. So he didn't know if she was being serious or not. And then he goes on to end with David was just a weirdo and always used to send gore photos in game chat. So yeah, these kids probably weren't thinking too hard about the situation at that time because they were children. all I can say is that I was very much self-aware when I was a kid, and I knew that 10 and 11 years old was way too young to be dating someone that's 16, bro. Like, I mean, but that's just me. Everyone isn't raised the same. So just having that type of mindset or that type of humor anyway, bro, that's kind of weird. My mind would have went off like, is this true? Like, I would have questioned it, was it true or not? And we definitely wasn't joking about no SA, okay? We wasn't joking about sexual assault. But like I said, bro, we don't know if this stuff is actually true. Allegedly, you know, this stuff happened, but there are honestly many threads online of people saying similar things.
When Celeste was first identified, I had came across some comments that said that they knew David. They used to play the game with him, and he used to always had his girl around. Looking back on everything now, they 100% think that was Celeste.
This sickens me, dude. I was in a zone wars with both of them and thought the little girl in the lobby was someone's sister on the game. I always had a weird feeling about him. I didn't even know he was David.
I'm trying to find a clip of me, Celeste, and David in a call. I knew I should have said something, bro. I thought he was just being normal. We were queuing up in Fortnite with random people, then we queued up with Celeste. At first, it was normal. Like 3 months go by, and I notice it's getting weird. Like, how does he know her entire story? I'm thinking he's just being nice to this kid like a brother. It got weirder every time we would play together. Eventually, he did his own thing.
I was in a lobby while she was there, and that was only one time. I assumed it was someone's sister. Thinking of everything makes more sense now.
Do you remember anything weird about the conversation? Do you remember her username?
I don't remember her username, but there wasn't any weird vibes. We were playing Zone Wars, and she'd just make little comments like everyone while playing. But Ant would joke about SA all the time, and other weird things like severe dark humor, and everyone that's played with him can confirm.
What year and month was this, if you can remember?
January, February 2020. Or can be 2021, because it was before I stopped playing, and I stopped playing around then.
And you're sure it was her?
100%. Couldn't have been anyone else.
Now, there's also a clip going around of a live stream that David did with Celeste, where she made a comment about David sexually assaulting kids. This all came out like in a blurt, like she wasn't trying to say that. I don't know, but David would end the live asking mods to delete everything. Now, I don't think she really tried to say this. You know, maybe she was trying to give a hint across or whatever, but yeah, it came out and he was basically like, I media trained you, and bro, just watch the clip.
I personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
To me, Celeste seemed very aware of what was going on. She knew that what was happening was illegal, and that it would be something that she could use as leverage if it ever came down to it. What's actually crazy to me is that how people watched this live in real time and really thought it was okay. I never knew about David before this case, before him unaliving a little girl. But I mean, thousands of people watched this live and knew about this guy and protected a pedo. And I still stick to what I said in my last video. People who supported this man needs to be on a registry because they are just as disgusting and psychotic. They condone this behavior, bro. If you're still defending this man, jump off the face of the earth immediately. Okay? You mean to tell me no Clippers got a hold of this? Why was this not all over TikTok? By the way, someone really came under my video and commented this. Look, if you can see a pedo as an innocent man, then you have bigger problems. You shouldn't be in comment sections. You should be in therapy. So since our last video, there has been an update to the case. After further investigations, text messages suggest that David murdered Celeste after a heated argument. Celeste was threatening to expose everything about their relationship after finding out that she wasn't the only little girl that David was grooming. So then David lures Celeste back to the home where he brutally unalives her, allegedly. He then leaves and goes to New York for a 2-day band lab event. And you can see this man on pictures and videos partying like nothing ever happened. So then David goes back home sometime after the event. This nigga go on Amazon, order 2 chainsaws, a body bag, a heavy duty laundry bag, and an inflatable pool. He does all this under a fake name, and he uses the chainsaw, bro, I don't even want to say it, bro, but to basically dismember her body. I honestly feel like this part he couldn't do alone, bro. He had to have had some help.
According to the prosecution, the night before they believe she was killed, April 23rd, the night of the 22nd, there was a big fight and they went back and forth with text messages. She was upset because he was seeing other girls, and she was threatening in those text messages to disclose information about him that would get him in trouble and, quote, ruin his career. So he actually gets an Uber for her, according to prosecutors, and has her delivered to his home that day, April 23rd, to come to the house. He pays the Uber to drop her off, and according to them, that is when he kills her. They say he stabbed her to death, and he actually waited, according to this complaint, until she, quote unquote, bled out. Then he took her phone, traveled to Santa Barbara, and kept on calling, texting her, saying, where are you? Where are you? As her body is sitting in her house, again, according to prosecutors. I want to underline that David has declared himself not guilty, okay, of all this already in court, of any charges or whatever may happen. So he goes to Santa Barbara, and that's where, according to the complaint, investigators actually found her ID and some of her stuff. Then he returns home, and get ready for this. He starts ordering on Amazon the tools that they say he used to dismember her body, including, and I kid you not, a burn cage and shovels and all kinds of things. Has the stuff delivered. And according to them, because they served a search warrant in his garage, this is where he supposedly did this, he proceeded to dismember her body. Specifically, jarring is taking away her pinky finger because his name was tattooed on it. Again, these are allegations by the prosecution. He has pled not guilty, and this is the case they plan to present at the preliminary hearing on May 26. They say that they have biological evidence, her DNA in the garage, in items left over from the pool, that kind of thing. Now, the defense wanted all this squashed because they said this is prejudicial to him, obviously. The prosecution in court was saying, of course it's prejudicial. It's our case against them. The judge decided, we do not seal this from the public. The defense said, well, how are you not going to taint the jury pool? And what the judge said is, LA is big enough, the jury pool's big enough, and they have enough cases like this that by the time we get to a trial, which probably will be in a few years, the jury pool will be able to find people who are not biased by this.
Look, this stuff is truly sick to me, bro. If you ask me, his lawyers are calling the bluff. These people have more than enough evidence to prove this dude guilty, bro. There's no way in the hell he get off on this. Now, I've seen people question his innocence because they just couldn't fathom someone doing something like this. But I mean, this is the same guy who was infatuated with blood and gore. That is a sick human being, okay? I've seen people say that a normal person wouldn't put a body in their trunk and just leave it in the driveway if they're trying to get away with a crime. And that may be true, but here's the thing. David Burke is not a normal, functioning human being. You would probably never fully understand why he chose the path he chose and why he did the things he did. Instead of being so in disbelief, take a look into the history of these type of people. If it teaches you anything, it will teach you that people are unpredictable. Sometimes they leave signs, and sometimes those signs are just as bold as the ones that tell you to stop at an intersection. But hey, that's just my perspective. I just think it's important that we treat everyone like they're capable and never like someone so much that it clouds your judgment. So stay vigilant, protect your family and yourself at all costs, and I'll catch you on the next one.